Listen guys, we all have bad habits. We are human. Naturally, we're gonna have bad habits that we do probably on a weekly basis. But what if I told you some of these bad habits you can actually use for good? And when I say for good, I'm talking about using them to build more muscle or just overall get in better shape. Yes, I've done this myself. So y'all stay tuned. We're gonna talk about 5 bad habits that could actually help you build more muscle, all right? Let's get into it. All right, starting off first with video games. We all know video games is a vice or a bad habit that a lot of men love to do. Me, myself, I was a big gamer back when I was more so a preteen. However, nowadays, I really don't play that many video games, but if I did, here's how I would turn that bad habit into something positive. For one, let me address that playing video games isn't inherently bad at all, especially if you do it in your free time. But if you go about doing it to actually burn more calories, you can actually kill 2 birds in 1 stone. Now, you can mostly only do this with a VR sort of headset, but recently I actually just got one and I absolutely love it. But here's the thing, you can actually do it while you're doing cardio to kind of make the cardio a little bit more fun, or you can actually just play games that are a little bit more cardio intensive. Now, I know that PlayStation and Xbox, they came out with a few of these things, including the Wii 2, to make you more active as you're playing the game. But if you're somebody who really doesn't like doing cardio, you can actually just be sure to do this a few times a week and burn a little bit more calories while you're having fun. This is exactly why people decide to play sports like basketball, football, or maybe even like Frisbee, because they actually enjoy the game, enjoy the sport, but at the same time, they're burning calories and getting fit. Now, if you're one of those guys who eats your Cheetos while playing GTA, stealing cars, and buying prostitutes, then yeah, I highly recommend you actually try this out. It might actually make a big difference, honestly. All right, number 2 is gonna be excessive social media usage. This is something that I talked about in my dopamine detox routine, how we do wanna avoid excessive social media usage, especially, scrolling short form content, TikTok, Instagram, etc. Because overall, the time you spend on social media, more than likely you could be doing something else a lot more productive, and plus is not the best for your dopamine signaling. However, you do want to use social media in a good way, and you guys literally watching this video right now are using social media in a good way, and that's the fact that you're either seeking out information to get better, or you use social media as a way to educate yourself through knowledge as you're doing something productive. So if we're talking videos like the one I'm creating right now, I enjoy listening to these style of videos whenever I'm cleaning, sometimes even when I'm working out. And I personally love to use social media as a form of inspiration and to spark more ideas. And like I said, to seek out information. It becomes more of a negative whenever you're just casually scrolling social media with no thought and you're just kind of brain dead, just scrolling short form content, getting one dopamine hit after another. So if you're doing that, that's what we want to avoid completely. Use social media as a tool in the right way possible. And that's exactly how you do it, as I just described. Now, let's be real. Too much social media can definitely lead to a lot of stress and anxiety. For example, the constant comparison of these great physiques or maybe people's extravagant lifestyles may make you feel a bit inadequate in your own life. I know for me personally, outside of just seeking information, I really had to stop scrolling social media just for the sake of it. So unfortunately, there's pros and cons to everything. However, along with using social media for the right reasons, some of you actually may benefit from therapy. And that's why I'm excited to announce today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the easiest way to get started with therapy, and the best part is done all online. You just fill out a simple questionnaire, and within days, you're matched with a licensed professional who resonates with your needs. With a vast network of therapists specializing in various areas, BetterHelp makes therapy accessible and affordable for everyone. Whether you're dealing with stress from social media or any other mental challenge, they definitely got you covered. Personally, I think therapy is a great way to communicate your problems, especially if you don't have a strong support group around you. And as you see, everybody has their own internal struggles, including myself, no matter how perfect their life may look. And I know us men are taught to hold everything inside, but trust me, sometimes you do need to let it out. So if you're ready to start your therapy journey, visit my link down below, betterhelp.com/AustinDunham for 10% off your first month. Remember, taking care of our mental health is just as important as taking care of our physical health, all right? So I'm gonna leave a link down below in the description. All right, up next is gonna be alcohol. We all know that alcohol is horrible for us. It's probably one of the most common yet bad things that most people consume outside of sugar, right? So with that being said, how can we use alcohol to build more muscle? Well, it's not necessarily to build more muscle, but you can use alcohol strategically as a diuretic to look more ripped for maybe an upcoming photo shoot or something like that. And you don't have to go crazy with this, guys. I'm not saying you have to get absolutely drunk, but if you drink, a few glasses of wine the night before, maybe you have a photo shoot, or maybe, you want to present your body in some sort of way, it's going to draw that water out of you. And for that reason, you're going to look that much better the day of. And of course, you do have your natural forms of diuretics too, like coffee. However, like I said, strategically, you could use alcohol to look a little better. Otherwise, you should definitely avoid it altogether. Bad habit number 4 that could help you build more muscle is definitely sleeping in. Listen, they say sleep is for the weak, but I believe sleep is for the strong. The more sleep you get, the better you feel, the better you look, and the more muscle you build. With that being said, that's why I track my sleep every single night. I make sure that I get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night, because I know that's optimal for my health, optimal for my recovery. And we all know that muscle is built within recovery. So if you're a guy who's getting 4 or 5, 6 hours of sleep, and though you might feel good, I highly recommend maybe on the weekends or days you don't work, try and sleep in just a few extra hours and see how much of that makes a difference. Now, I'm not telling you to be lazy whatsoever, but for me personally, I like to sleep in on Saturdays and Sundays on the weekend. I'm not talking about sleeping in to noon. I usually wake up at 6:30, but instead I'll get up like 7:30 or maybe 8 a.m. That extra hour to hour and a half actually makes a big difference in terms of my recovery. And I'm that much more prepared whenever I go back into my normal schedule of waking up. And I just feel overall better. So definitely prioritize your sleep. And that's why some of you guys just need to go to bed earlier. Honestly, I know it's difficult, but as you mature and as you grow older, you'll understand the importance of just going to bed early and how that just makes everything so much easier. As an adult, you should have a bedtime, and sometimes you do have to force yourself to go to sleep. Every time I go to bed, I'm never really tired. It's not like I go to bed instantly, but I have to train my body and force myself to relax. I have a wind down sort of routine. And for that reason, that's how I consistently get a good sleep. And that's exactly why I tend to sleep in a little bit longer on the weekends. Bad habit number 5 is eating junk food. Once again, I am not promoting these bad habits to do consistently, but if you do it strategically, it can help you build more muscle. Think about it. If you're a hard gainer right now, you need 3,500 to 4,000 calories to build muscle or to gain weight. I highly doubt you're doing that with all clean food. And if you try to do that with all clean food, you're just gonna feel horrible, and it's gonna be very, very hard for you. Now, there are some clean foods, I would say, that are a little bit more higher in calories. Are nuts, cashews, nut butters, things like that. Of course, you can make smoothies, but I would say if you can balance out your diet to be 90% clean or 85% clean, while that 10 to 15% is a little bit more junk food or higher in fat, higher in carbs, strategically, maybe you do this on the weekends, it can actually help you balance out your caloric intake and thus gain a little bit more weight. I know for me personally, it will be very hard for me to gain weight if I was not to dive into a little bit of junk food occasionally here and there. Just eating clean throughout the week, Monday through Sunday, is definitely very difficult if you're a hard gainer and if you're in a building phase. So it might actually help out. And once again, you can make these smoothies and do different things, but enjoy that cheat meal, bro. Have that refeed day where you eat maybe that half a box of pizza that you've been craving. You're gonna do it anyway. I know most of you guys are, but what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to kill yourself in terms of dieting and your caloric restriction, especially if you're bulking or building, and definitely if you're a hard gainer. All right, guys, let's talk about the 5 bad habits that could actually help you build more muscle. But here's the absolute truth. If you can't find balance in any of this, if you're the type to overindulge in some of these bad habits because you can't figure it out, then I highly recommend you just cut it out altogether and just go hard on it, right? This is for people who can have that balance in their lives and realize that these are bad habits, but once again, used strategically, it can actually assess for a good outcome. All right, guys, don't forget to check out betterhelp.com. Use my link down below for 10% off your first month of online therapy. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace.